All right, we're here at Pumps of Oklahoma in Oklahoma City. Got Micah Goodspeed. My name is Dick Greenlee. We're going to show you how to correctly and incorrectly install motor lead in a motor. These are the steps that we're going to be going over today. All right, Micah, go ahead and show us some of the common mistakes and some of the preparation that we do. We want to, when you receive the motor lead, you want to unpackage it, make sure that the end has a baggie over it and has some dielectric oil on the end. You can see the shiny dielectric oil that's on there. You want to inspect the motor lead to make sure it wasn't damaged during shipping. Make sure that the freight companies haven't nicked the motor cable or smashed the end on the end. So make sure it's in good order. The next thing you want to do is make sure that your motor socket is clean and has no water in it or any other debris. And then you're ready to start installing the motor plug into the motor. This is a common mistake that's done where the motor lead is inserted into the motor socket and the bushing is not, where this is not seated down properly, where the motor plug is not seated down properly, and then when you start tightening it, it actually will not tighten down very far. This is where you have to start taking a wrench and start turning it in from where there's many threads showing. This is not proper. The jam nut should be able to be tightened in almost all the way finger tight. If you're having to wrench it in, that means that you have not seated this bushing down correctly. It means it's still up, and that will leak and that will cause your failure. That is the most common failure in installing these motor leads, is not getting this bushing right here seated down into the motor socket good enough. The other common mistake that we do is cross-threading the motor jam nut, where it's obviously crooked and cross-threaded. Now we're gonna, and that's where you have done it improperly. You're going to see a crease in this lip right there. That's the sealing surface, is this lip. This does not seal. This is the sealing surface right here. Okay, so as long as you get the bushing seated down. Now we're going to show you one that's done properly. Yeah, we're going to get a new motor lead, take the baggie off the end, make sure there's some dielectric grease on the end, do the inspection of the motor lead, do the inspection of the motor socket to make sure that it's clean, there's no debris, make sure your motor's in good shape. Then we're going to insert the motor lead jam nut in, the motor lead plug in. We're going to make sure it's down. Now what we do here, we have a little technique where we take a flat edge. You can see the jam nut is not threaded down yet. This is still in the up position like this. And so what you want to do is you want to take something that's not going to damage the epoxy and then very lightly tap it down until you feel it's solid, and you take both sides of that and you tap it down until you feel that bushing is inserted in there solidly. Then you can do that on 3 or 4 sides, and then the jam nut will slip in there, and then you can see and again, one of the most common mistakes right here is making sure that this plug is up and down straight and that it's inserted properly in. And a lot of times, if you just maneuver the plug a little bit where the jam nut will thread in properly and solidly without having to thread it in using the wrench. And this thing goes in almost all the way with your fingers, and if it's not going in almost all the way with your fingers, there's an issue. That means you have it crooked, you don't have it seated properly, or it's cross-threaded. So then you can see what's left of the threads right there. There's not very much. Everything was threaded in there finger tight. Then you finish up with your wrench, and it's usually maybe 2, 3, 3.5, 4 turns, and you put the correct foot-pounds of pressure on. You don't want to over-tighten it, you don't want to under-tighten it, but you want to do it tight enough where it makes a good seal. So that's pretty much the procedure, and if we follow those instructions, we should have pretty good success. Thank you.